On the bus, I finally found my way. I don't know if the sign's going to show up. Annecy, the land of the famous animation festival. Right, here I am. Well, it's going to be a lot colder or even hotter. So there's a nasty heat wave going about, but this is doable temperatures for me. Now I just need to find the damn place where it would be. Tickets and passes for Annecy, it's all the way here. Hopefully I'm not too late or mucks it all up or anything like that. I'm not a student. I am press, but I didn't qualify for the accreditation, but I am someone who will be at the festival direct. This is what it looks like. This ski resort town known for all these wonderful little animations, of which they hosted some particular films I was a fan of earlier the past years, like Memoirs of a Snail and Lesbian Space Princess. So yeah, it's been quite interesting to visit. Now that I'm in the building itself, now it's just a matter of figuring out where everything is, what's scheduled, because even though I managed to reserve one or two films to see, there's still a few things I'm not entirely sure how to handle. I like a bag. I don't know if you can show this, but okay. But you know, the heat wave is present. I heard it was going to be about 35 Celsius at maximum, and I thought, don't take the risks. Dress lightly. That's what I'm doing right now. The event for Ricky Gervais's new animation on Netflix called Alley Cats, which to me looks like a bit like that Gennady Tartakovsky film that they released last year called Fixed, but with cats, not dogs. Or Strays. Well, that Housebroken show in recent years that had on, when I was living in the States, they had it on Fox, Channel 11. But I am in a line for Auditorium 6 to see if I can get tickets for a film called Winnipeg. Yes, Winnipeg, like Canada, in Manitoba. Oh, if we waited here in the hot weather. See if I can try to get like last minute reservation ticket. Because it hasn't been possible as of late, but we'll see how things turn out. We'll see. And also because my battery's a bit low at the moment. Let me just see something here.
Refreshing.
Okay, it's not on the location because it's out ways away. I had the opportunity to see two projects. One of them was animation from Spain, known as Winnipeg, The Seeds of Hope, and it has nothing to do with Winnipeg, Manitoba. It actually was about people who fled during the Spanish Civil War to seek refuge, essentially in France, and then head on a cruise ship known as like the Winnipeg to head over to Valparaiso, Chile. And they've shown Salvador Allende as one of the characters that also helped with their freedom, and Pablo Neruda. This was before Pinochet took power and terrorized the whole country, and now Jose Antonio Cast. And then a second film was a compilation of short films that were about war, Krieg, Guerre, and it was called The War. Yes, sir. Several short films, some of them were from Canada, one was from Croatia. There was a lot of ones that were stop motion, and one of them had the mixed format of live action and animation at the same time, which I thought was quite clever. It was visually stunning, I'll say. All the ones that they were showing, not really family friendly, nor was the Winnipeg one, although Probably the war ones, but certainly a lot more bleak in tone. But you could probably show it to the sort of 12 certificate crowd. But I personally thought they were pretty good productions. I was meant to, at this very venue, or was it another one? Sorry, it was another one. It was like called Salle Pierre something. My brain's not working because of the heat. There's been a heat wave circling throughout Europe badly, and UK because Brexit. You know, we like to think of ourselves as our own country. The Irish don't do that. But yeah, I was meant to see like a work in progress for Common Side Effects, which is Mike Judge's TV project that is certainly a lot darker than King of the Hill, Barbie, and
Hey, was on fire.
okay, if you can do that, that would be great. With Office Space. No, this one's about war and drugs and the sort of chemical solution that they think may change the world, but now that the FDA and the federal government want their hands in on it, so there's a lot of sort of satirical elements combined with quite strong violence. I saw it, a lot of the episodes, weird enough, when I was on a plane to go to Brazil, to go to Uruguay on Latin American Airlines, or LATAM. I thought it was genius. It's almost has elements of like Akira, especially those little blob people sort of coming out of nowhere, and Scanner Darkly, and I like both of those, especially Scanner Darkly. I remember getting the DVD and the poster for it many years ago. The poster particularly, even though I wasn't quite 15 at the time to go see the film in cinemas, I knew what it was, and I was like, I really want to see that. I finally got the DVD at Asda back in 2008 or 2009. Good times. But I also missed out as well on this upcoming masterclass. It's going to be happening at around 6:15 CET. That's the time zone that much of Europe operates by, so unless you're from Finland or Estonia. Unfortunately, because I don't have a specific pass, I can cover my name. My one says Festival, not MIFA. I'm not an industry professional, even though more or less I am independent. I've worked in the media industry before, but it would have cost me a lot more to get the pass, at least about 420, almost 600 euro. I think I could use that money for much better purposes. And probably it's going to be swallowed a lot up with the hostel, because that, you know, which I found not too far away from here, Auberge de Jeunesse. It was the cheapest one I could find, because everything's here, it's quite expensive. It's nearby Switzerland, so you're going to get rich tourism. That's kind of where the heart lies around here, so I have to be a bit careful on budget. This isn't like, being in Japan where I was like, because it was quite cheap. Or even for that matter, like, I find this hard to even say, Cardiff, Wales. But it gives me something to explore. One thing I might be doing, I don't know, I can't remember the calendar too well, but if they are playing some open air screenings of certain films, I am aware that I think Chicken Run and Toy Story, films from my childhood, are playing on the big screen outside, so I'm really looking forward to that. I heard they had some sort of special screenings of like 4K transfers for Perfect Blue, which I already saw back at the Odeon in Greenwich. I've seen before on DVD. It's a really disturbing film, not suitable for children at all. It's worse than Sausage Party or Team America. And then they had Ninja Scroll, which I missed out on because I was too busy at the time. That would have been really amazing to see the scroll. Unfortunately, at this very open screen, I don't know if you can see from the outside here, it looks like they've got like projection en plein air. They're going to play K-pop Demon Hunters, and I'm like, no! K-pop Demon Hunters? Unfortunately, I just want that image from Scary Movie 2026 that they parodied that was a bit almost weird on some hentai territory. We had a 15 certificate, so we couldn't be that explicit. But I was just like wondering, what did I just watch? So that just stay in my head, because I think Huntrix is the worst thing to mankind. Gorillas will always be in my head as the de facto animation band, not Huntrix. Sorry. And before I find the next sort of things to watch, I'm just looking at this selection of DVDs to choose from. I'm just like, well, I could do better at the charity shops in England at their prices. This is more making me laugh as far as I'm concerned. Rambo 2. Ready or Not. Home on the Range. Hancock. Catch Me If You Can. The Yakuza gets the triads. Saw 2. Night Watch, which I think is a Russian film. See? Sorry. Resident Evil. I can't stand Resident Evil. Expendables. Fantastic Four. The Meg. Corinne Bailey Rae. You don't want to watch that. Nor this. I thought that was Martyr for a second, but no, that's just generic horror film. Very famous French comedian Dubosc. I don't think anyone outside the UK, anyone outside of France, probably Belgium, has ever heard of them. Rocket Man. I remember seeing the poster for this many years ago. Well, I saw Vantage Point, L'Anglais Attack, when I was in. That was the first time I was in the cinema. First, that was 18 years ago. Weirdly enough, I was passing through Calais with a family member. I thought, why not go see a film in the cinema? And this is giving me a headache. I can't keep up with any of this. Oh, my mother will have a good laugh at this. You can watch Poldark Season 2 for about $12.90. It's going to be dubbed in French, which just messes with my head a bit. So that's a manga museum in Kitakyushu, Japan. We're talking about Captain Harlock. This influenced greatly Daft Punk. A little bit outside. I don't know if it's let up a little bit. Got myself a nice little beverage, Carrefour yogurt. Helps keep with my nutrition. It's not too sugary. Busy day. I thought to save a little bit on the budget. I've been spending too much on drinks lately. I'm going to be going to see Walking with Animes. It's a documentary. A lot of people at this screening for the documentary that I'm going to be seeing. I am technically not allowed to do video or photo of any of the screenings that I was at. Even just showing like little slides saying Annecy Festival. Or a little short that's from Aardman promoting the festival itself with Morph, the famous character. It's like, and that was before Minions. So making a muck of things. That's sort of like model scale version of Annecy, which I just think is absolutely wonderful. Aardman never disappoints me, you know. Even I didn't care much for pirates and adventurous scientists or early man that much. I do think a lot of their work is top notch, and remind me of when I was young, watching Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit and Creature Comforts a lot. And somehow I catched Rex the Runt on a few occasions, even though that's a bit more of an adult sort of work from them. They don't always talk about that much, but I think that nevertheless. Forgive me if I'm itching. Mosquitoes and bug bites, they're everywhere. Oh.
Congratulations to you guys for putting that together. That is phenomenal.
And I host a YouTube channel known as Skinny E Media, and I was just very enthralled by the project that you just done because it featured a lot of the films that I was obsessed with when I was a child. Particularly with clips from like Toy Story, James the Giant Peach, Chicken Run, Morph. It just really made my day. But the question I wanted to ask, particularly for everyone standing, the current state of animation, it seems to be more going toward the side of adult animation more than anything, now that probably with demographic changes, people aren't having kids as much. What does that mean for the future of animation itself? Because when I was growing up, if I saw like a 15 or 18 rating on something like, let's say for example, South Park or Persepolis, Sausage Party, I would be like, huh? So what is your take on that? There's always been a fight with like Rex the Run, which is an Aardman production I used to like.
You know, that's a great question, and there might be a perception that there's more adult, but I think what happens is animation as an art form is being more widely accepted, and I think, especially in North America, the definition is broadening and widening much more, like as it is seen in Asia. And so you may think there's more of it, and that's where it's headed, but it's just because it's materializing. There's lots, and from our perspective, we understand very well that there's still a lot of family entertainment that we thrive on and that we love making. So we're just trying to make a more complete picture of what animation can be so everyone can enjoy it.
Yeah, well, very quickly, I mean, I kind of hope there is more, just because we've enjoyed making adult stuff over the years, and it's been difficult to fund. So if there is more appetite, that's good. Yeah.
In spite of all the beauty that animation has proven to have for kids and children and ourselves, there's now generations have grown up with it and they accept animation as an art form. And I think what will happen now is that we will break through that glass ceiling, both when we see animation as beautiful art, which is not the mainstream, but the clips you saw from the little film called Gallery and the other one called Daughter, everything what Daniel was talking, it was because we were doing an experiment where we were working with what I would call real acting, much to enable the human drama in a place where it did not fall into the uncanny valley and all of this. And I think that was just a great example of that. So there is now a movement that wants to break through that glass ceiling and make it happen.
Another question?
Where's the camera? Which one?
Which one? Let's look over there right now.
Cannes
We'll
Festival.
look over there.
Cannes Festival.
Oh, we're so cool.
Wow.
A fun night. On the first day, again it's Sir Peter Lord from Aardman, who was the original face of it before Nick Park, and then the two filmmakers behind the documentary that was called Walking with Animators. That was really splendid indeed. So fun trying to catch breath. I'm walking up the hill to the hostel that I'll be at, and I'm just really honoured to get to be here. But this was the cheapest way to get to Annecy, was auberge de jeunesse. But more importantly is getting to see one of my idols, and the documentary had a lot of clips and interviews of people such as Henry Selick, James the Giant Peach from Coraline, Phil Tippett, Mad God, who I think does some of the visual effects for Jurassic Park. If I vomit, forgive me. I'm almost to my destination. And now, Kid Koala even appeared on there for Space Cadet. That made me very happy. So I've actually talked to Kid Koala myself on my YouTube. He's a great man. And he makes great music, carpal tunnel syndrome. Just the fact it features a lot of that, and clips from Toy Story and such. And Floyd Norman appeared, one of the first black animators who worked for Disney, made this very special, all the more worthwhile. Sorry I can't see in the dark, but this is kind of how it looks like when you have no lights in a remote area. But I do have to sign off, so I'm probably going to head to bed, so I feel well exhausted. Much footage of what the architectures and sort of landscape and vibes that you get from the towns I visit. I did one for Cannes, but for Annecy not so much, but this is my experience. I'm quite impressed by the end result. Oh, there's a Monoprix there. Huh. Well, stick with Carrefour because they tend to be a bit cheaper. Hello, this is Mark with Skinny E Media here, introducing the man behind one of the most famous scenes in indie animation, Bill Plimpton.
Plimpton, yes, I'm drawing, I'm signing, I'm talking, I'm laughing. Come on down.
Always a hero.
The skinniest showman, huh? Is that what you said?
Skinny E Media.
Skinny
That's
Media, okay.
where I am, and I've done interviews with many famous. You probably just saw the little video I did of Bill Plimpton. He's not very famous, but to me he is, because I know a lot of his work, particularly with the music video of I Heard Him Say. I didn't want to say that out loud to him, but I did say it off camera because that is Kanye West, who's very controversial and is actually banned from the UK because of anti-Semitic language and behaviour. But that was the first time I've got to know him, and I actually liked that music video growing up when I was scrolling through MTV, and I saw the tune, which I think is a masterpiece. We got talking about Portland animation scene, which, even though Portland has a great sense of whimsy and culture about it, I wouldn't travel there at the moment because it's the United States. ICE and Donald Trump and CBP, I don't want to have to worry about that, even though I'm a US citizen. But thankfully for me, once hopefully that dies out by the year 2050 and I have cancer, then I'll be able to visit back there again, but don't count on it. But yeah, it was real pleasant, and hopefully if he's still around after I see this Q&A session called Cues and Superheroes, hopefully I might be able to buy one of his DVDs of Idiots and Angels, which I think is another great work that he did that is even more obscure than, let's say, I Married a Strange Person or Mutant Aliens or Cheating. My friend who I used to know at university, I think he's from the Knoxville, Tennessee area, he's a big fan of Plimpton. If I got to speak to him again, he would be like, "You did that!" Ah! Oh, good. Bless. After I've watched the Q and Superheroes special, there was a Q&A event, I decided to do Plimpton the favour, because he had DVDs lying around of some of his films that he's made, and I got Idiots and Angels, which I haven't seen in more than 10 years. 10, 12 years, I suppose. But it's a lovely little work, and deals with loneliness and anger issues. And it's never been released in the UK, so I'm not selling this to anyone. This is mostly for myself, as far as I'm concerned. Fila Brazil is also selling their music as well on CD. You get a value pack with Touch of Cloth, they're one of their best albums, for £15. Got a nice manga store nearby as well. Oh! Because there's a possibility I might head over to Toronto later this year. Le comptoir Canadien, the Canadian counter. You get some coarse sous-sol pour votre voyage québécois. Maintenant. This is hilarious thing. Better call Prime Minister Mark Carney. Hello, bonjour. Talk about France at times. Quebec doesn't do this, except, you know, the whole bilingualism thing. Wall Street English number 1 ou numéro 1 de la formation à l'anglaise. Come again. I hope French is a wonderful language. You don't have to just speak English all the time just so you can get ahead. See another film if the line isn't so busy on Salle de Auditorium number 2 for yes, really enough what the film is called. What a vulgar title. Can't be as vulgar as There's More, which means fuck me. Get the idea. I like shock value, so it releases the inner BBFC and film ratings in me. This son of a bitch for Au Fil de Puta, which is by its offensive namesake, where it's essentially about a young man who tries to find his way to meet his father, whether he's alive or not, and that's as much as I'll tell you. And we got we saw the persistent swearing and sexual humour that one would find in like the sort of works of Charles Bukowski or something like that. I could be wrong on this. But yeah, it was nice to see, and I got talking with some of the people that I sat next to. I was like, this is quite interesting. I saw it mainly because the title, and then also it reminded me of Persepolis in terms of its visual design, because much of it's in black and white and the characters all look sort of in a film noir style, if you will. That looks like something that you would fill up for your fire truck, or where a dog can take a piss, but nope, this is actually where you can refill water. I can't show what it looks like, but you know, because my hands will be full, but nevertheless, courtesy of Département de Haute-Savoie. Et voila. Sending their love down the well. Which was a piss take, if you will, because anyone who's seen that Simpsons episode where Bart falls down a well is a parody of Live Aid. And weirdly enough, Bob Geldof is somehow involved in all of this. And he's not too far from where I live, which, you don't even have to get a museum ticket for it, of countries' currencies. Unfortunately, we're not going to show those because I don't care much for them. But like Japan and South Korea, for instance, right there, and Hong Kong and the Philippines and Thailand. Madagascar. Out of all these currencies, the one I'm familiar with the most is the Japanese yen, because I've actually used it before. I've used NOK. Never used the Let or Lek or Bach or the Lira. Hopefully use the franc. Let's forget that USD exists. GBP, obvious, that's obvious. I've used the Canadian dollar before. New Zealand. I've never seen a rand. That would be quite interesting. Yeah, you're not hearing anything with that. It's a poor currency. For me, please. But thankfully, this is the long lines that we'll be looking at for Tangles, which is a film that I think Seth Rogen produced, of all things. Sorry, I cut myself off. It was the security guard just saying everyone needs to be in line a certain way. But this is a film that's produced by the same person who done This Is the End, Sausage Party, Good Boys, and was in Observing Applause, essentially playing a comedic Travis Bickle. So you're probably going to be expecting sort of bro vibes, you know, gonna smoke weed, man. Because that's kind of his shtick with this is the biggest here of the film events, Bonnier Grand Salle. It's going to be a bit like the Cannes steps almost. What if I'll see Seth Rogen now?
It's before the film, not during the film.
Okay.
Hello, this is Skinny E Media here with the director of Tangles, Leah Nelson, one of the best animated films of the year, if not films of the year. Ground. The greatest movie ever made. And one of the first films I ever saw in cinemas. The tear emoji. Buzz Lightyear, Star Command to the rescue. Buzz Lightyear, Star Command, do you read me? Why don't they answer? Oh, my ship! Lost. This will take me weeks to repair. Buzz Lightyear, Mission 12. Access the zone up and intelligent life anywhere. Hello? Booyah! Ah! Oh, they translated the text. Sworn enemy of the Galactic Alliance. Well, I'm from Play School, but I'm from Mattel. No, actually from a small little company in Japan. I'm gonna start crying. But I have to watch it for my mother and for my young self. I was living the life and the peace of the way you should be. Things are happening to me. The number of people that are present, those aren't kids. I mean, I did see a few families, but those were mostly adults. And people younger than I am, because I'm in my 30s. These are people who probably grew up with the film when they were children of the 1990s. And Gen Z people probably watched it on DVD and stuff, or on Disney Channel. So that just still amazes me, even to this very day, that you can still have animated works, and somehow it's acceptable that adults can watch as well as kids. But if you remember, at the end of the day, who's paying the ticket? Not the 11 or 9-year-old. They don't got money except like a little pocket change from doing the dishes or making some lemonade. You get what I mean? I don't know about you, but I've reached my destination. But I might have to check with the doctor if I've got asthma. Hopefully this ain't serious. But I really lost a lot of breath walking that distance from that hill. Getting down it's not a problem. Getting up on it, ooh, that kicked my arse. Not pretty. But yeah. I already walked out from hostel. Thankfully I went down slope, so that made things a little bit easier, and I managed to catch one of the screenings for like a collection of TV films, they call it, even though it's more like short films or episodes of particular programs. And they had one that was for SpongeBob, one that was for Love, Death and Robots, another that was for a show called Long Story Short, and one that's called Chips is for like from William Street, which is Adult Swim more or less. And Tankopi, which was quite a depressing anime special of sorts that dealt with bullying and suicide. And Love, Death and Robots one was full of Nazi fighters and extreme levels of violence, so I've seen everything over the moon. I mean, if I had the privilege of seeing stuff like Perfect Blue on the big screen and Sausage Party, nothing can offend me anymore. I just saw Jim Queen at another cinema, independent of Annecy, and that was pretty out there because the LGBT content probably somehow a little bit more graphic than Lesbian Space Princess. So there you go. But you know what? I'm very happy to have these privileges of going to the festival and seeing all these films, even if a large majority of them. One film I did just try to get into was a collection of short films. I couldn't because all the tickets have run out. Well, actually, no, you couldn't get any more seats, even though I was on the waiting line, like trying to get someone who can't get reservations. But at least I tried. But I might pop over again to see something about queers and superheroes, particularly because of those two films that I saw just this year, Lesbian Space and Jim Queen and The Quest for Queer. I'm not LGBT myself, but I thought, this will definitely shock people. I like shock value, and what's not to like within these nice sunny parts of the days. It's slightly cooler than it was the other day, but it's still a real scorcher. Yeah. Oh, maybe I should show you some of the little things that I got myself from when I was at the festival last night. Or sort of like a book or library card for Walking with Animators. Or promotional tools, whichever work. And a little card inviting me to go to Viborg. Oh, that's not for you to see. Which is the Animation Festival in Denmark. I've got, kind of not so great views about Denmark. It has nothing to do with metaphysics and Greenland, but we won't go in there. And then another little card that's promoting, I think one of the interviews that they had at Viborg, or through the Northern Animation Network. Pretty cool indeed. And a little pencil, courtesy of the event. I like collecting collectibles whenever I can and putting them where they need to be. Unfortunately, it's probably collecting too much space already in my environment, so I have to be a little bit careful not to collect too much. Or I'll be like, help, I'm falling. Ah. Oh, bless. Y tú, Arbeta Vázquez, el dictador. And I'm absolutely honoured to be here as always. But I got to see, for the first set of viewing, Decorado, which is a Spanish animation with some help from Portugal, I believe. That was essentially like an animated version of Brazil Truman Show, if you could put it that way, where it almost seems like something is controlled and you have no power over it. Basically. There's something that's quite powerful, there's no control, and everything is corporatized and samey and use the state to control people by force. That sounds awfully, that's no. It was certainly more unsettling type of animation because of its political and satirical parallels to the world as we see fit. But I think that was the inherent charm of it, and I'm glad to have seen the film. I know they played it at the BFI London Festival last year, but I didn't have the opportunity to do so at the time. But I was very honoured to get to see it, along with Tangles and Winnipeg The Seeds of Hope. And hopefully I'll be able to see more material. There'll be another compilation of short films I'll be seeing called Off Limits, I believe, which should be interesting. Unfortunately for me, I left a lot of my food at the hostel, so it wasn't very wise of me, but I wanted to pack lightly. That mug that you see there, I got it from Canada, and it's managed to last as long as it has. Bless. But yes, still more to explore. The party isn't over yet. I'm looking forward to that. But now I need to know where the Monopoly is, because I'm thirsty. Yeah. Okay, in the meantime, let's have a goosey gander at what the wonderful streets of Annecy looks like when it is not winter, and there's the winter tourism and skiing. Marvel at that. Speak to you later. The Dude Abides, and the most violent Ghibli film see what this looks like inside. There's music and all this cinema. I can do video at the present. Interesting, very place. This is the animation section that they have right here. Let's have a look. And What's Up a Snail? That's always a great film. This is suitable for all ages. Like in the UK where it's P15. This one's a bit more of an adult PG than I would have expected, but that's why I love it. Don't know that one. Heavy metal. But it's more like a primal. Oh, I know. Don't get scared by the rabbits. This one I've seen, weirdly enough. I got it at the bibliothèque somewhere in, I think, Nice. I thought, hey, might as well see what this is about, because it looks like he was about a man who was in a prison camp. I've seen this one, it's a bit like Mad God. I didn't like it that much, despite the wonderful visuals. It's actually Japanese, but it's not like a typical anime. It's more like stop motion. The band Troisième. Mad God. I know people, often talk about how great this film is. They gave it an 18 back in the UK. I thought this was very mild. It could have been a 15 in my opinion. Probably even a 12. This one's quite very dark sense of humour, but I think we all sort of wish when times are tough that we took out our own lives, but that's not something I would promote. But, desperate times sometimes call for desperate measures, and it shouldn't be that way, but that's where the joke lies. It has got that sort of Belleville Rendezvous sort of art style to it. Plimpton again. Plimpton, Hokusai, Corpse Bride. Don't know this one. Origin. I gave this as a copy to a person from work. Hope they liked the film itself. A town called Panic from Belgium. Massive film. The Prophecy. Frogs. The Grange. Roger Rabbit. Wonderful film. Never gets old. Don't care for Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. What this is. France gets a lot more animations than we do. We never get this sort of stuff. We suck. In the UK. We get a lot of anime and stuff. That's where I found my foundation. We never have some of these more sort of obscure titles that you just wouldn't find it. That's a great film. It's a documentary / animation about Angolan independence through the perspective of like a Polish journalist. I think it was even produced to some extent by HBO, weirdly enough. So if you've seen this, please do check it out. Boomworm. I don't know that one too well. I thought I've heard this one before. Adolia is from Turkey, coincidentally. Cockroach, that's what that means. Colourful, that's the ADV distributed this. Many years ago, I swore they had. So I sort of cuts it, and I thought, yeah, that's ADV. I think they had like the woman's underwear or something on the. I know he's from Israel, so there comes with a lot of baggage, but he's a great animator, and he is quite critical of Netanyahu in his own country. But this is one of his great works that he's done along with Walter Bishop's The Congress. It's got Roger Rabbit style animation live action aspect to it. Very hard to find in the UK. They didn't even have it available at checks. Oh, that's these little internet TV series that he did. Barefoot Again. Oh god, I hate that film. Have a Nice Day. I didn't like it. I did like Illusionist. That's the one not with Ed Norton. This is an animation. Jacques Tati. Wonderful animation. Not as good as Belleville. Still. Favourite in my eyes. Yeah, anime. They're really much otakus in this country. I saw that when I was in America many years ago. They had it on like Link TV for some reason. So I was like, what is all this? Wizards. That's Ralph Bakshi. Not a big fan of Steamboy, but my friend, he was a big fan of it. Like the sort of wonder behind all. America, fuck you. What's no, these are two films. Mad Demon. That I both like. I love this film. This is a film I used to watch a lot when I was a child. I wasn't allowed to watch this growing up because I wasn't 15 at the time it came out, but I certainly was. I saw, I think people who were sitting next to me at the plane, they were doing the in-flight, and they had the sex scene on with the puppets, and they got in trouble for looking at that. I'm not in trouble for looking at that. I was like, you should be showing that to your daughter. Wonderful film. Yeah, this is like the trio of all Mark movies. Team America, Titan A, Belgium, London, Fire and Ice. Good film, Ralph Bakshi's later titles. Oh, that's the person I saw today. Unicorn Wars with Vasquez. This one I've not seen, but I hear people talk a lot about how great it is. Called Clay Dream. It's about Will Vinton before Leica bought it. Just being a bit conscientious because there's people might be thinking, why is he filming it? You can't film in here, but well, trying to be a bit discreet here. But he's all great. This is a great documentary if you haven't seen it. It's about Will Vinton and his animation studio who did the PJs and the California Raisins before Leica bought it and turned into much more powerful institution. Unfortunately, Nike going to corporatize things as more as they can grasp on. Even though they did do Coraline and Paranormal, which I think are masterpieces, but wishful thinking. A cheeky so I'm getting myself some Burger King. Didn't even print in Smart. They even decided to add the onion rings as well. I decided to get this after I just saw a compilation of shorts called Off Limits or La Limita or Limita. I'm not so sure the translation, but it was very abstract and bizarre. Some of it looked like music video footage from like all tech. Or one of the something from like Tool mixed with the weird psychedelic tropes that you would find from like Pink Floyd if they were still relevant. I loved it, but some of the people had to walk out because some of the footage was too heavy on the flashing lights and strobe, which could cause an epileptic fit or seizure, which is never a good thing. Kind of like the controversy that happened with The Incredibles 2, where they had the flashing imagery that caused people to go to hospital. So that's not a joke, that's a health and safety issue. Unlike, let's say scenes of sex and violence or suicide that may be disturbing to the younger viewers. Oh, hold on. A film called In Waves. It should be En Vague. But they probably anglicised it because some of the films set in like America or Hawaii or somewhere like that. About surfing. There aren't many animated films about sports that much, except like your Space Jams and The Unbeatables. About football. That was an Argentine animation. This is about surfing, the first of its kind. So this will be quite interesting, but the lines are looking awfully long for Auditorium 2, so I don't think I'm going to have much of a chance. But one can dream. The film I'm probably more looking forward to is seeing Ghost in the Shell and Chicken Run. When that plays later tonight, I'll be watching this space. I know, waiting for In Waves. Unfortunately, when they made the final decision, it was already too little too late. They couldn't take any more tickets in because so many people wanted to go see it, which I'm perfectly fine with. At least I got to see the film that I really wanted to see, which was Tangles, more importantly than anything else. If I was there the other day, I could have gone to see Ninja Scroll, but that's another story. Hopefully I get to see Ghost of the Shell 4K transfer not too far away from here. I'm really looking forward to that. I do need to eat something because I've got a headache. Oh, it's bruising in my head around here. I'm outside. Thankfully I found my hat. Even though I always keep leaving things by accident, my dumb self. But I decided to take it a little bit easy at this moment, mainly because I had a headache and it was splitting me. And didn't feel pleasant. I didn't have any of the paracetamol on me or ibuprofen, so instead I mainly just had to improvise and just sit down in the shade. Thankfully it's getting a little bit darker by this hour, but still bright and still bloody hot. But you know, I'm doing what I can within my own limits. So I'm doing it quite well as far as I'm concerned. And yeah. Thought I recognised someone. Sorry, I thought I was seeing things. But yeah, I actually marvel at all this sight here. Even though it does border the canton that Genève belongs to, that's actually the flag of Savoie. The region for, not region, the department where this Annecy is. I'm about to see the film that's the first ever 15 DVD I bought. But like the people. Not about 19, 20 years in the making as far as I'm concerned. I finally got to see it on the big screen. Because when I first saw it, I got the DVD through Manga Force. This is common knowledge to people who have seen my podcast that I used to do with one Bavister from Cardiff. So I call it Cardiff, Cymru, Wales. It's important. But very happy I got to see that. Now, with that being said, however, it is not my favourite of anime films. That would probably go to films like The Peas, Perfect Blue, Princess Mononoke, Puni Puni Poeme, Pompoko, Porco Rosso, Ghost, which is because of the letter G, doesn't quite count in that league, but it's a better film than Akira, in my opinion, because Akira, even though it's a great film, it does have a bit too much hype going for itself, because everyone's like, that's my favourite movie, it's like Totoro, that's my favourite anime. But you know what, it was great seeing it. There was a lot of people, there was no kids sneaking into it, even though one could imagine probably for some people, especially some of the young men watching it, they were like seeing all the nudity and they're like, oh, cheeky pervy bastards. I know the VHS cover, I remember it very fondly because it had the character Kusanagi Motoko, and she was like with the sunshades with a pistol like this, you could see her cleavage. I thought, okay, I know what they're doing. The teenage boys, Alfred Lee did the same thing. She was covering her cleavage and you could see a bit, and it probably was giving me a bit of a turn on, like the Pulp Fiction VHS cover, except Pulp Fiction has no nudity. But you know what, there's a common thread. Each of the characters have short hair. All my girlfriends had short hair. I think it's conspiratorial. Bjork on the debut album, not post but debut, had short hair. How do you explain that? It's these images from my younger years, my childhood and my adolescence, that implanted in my brain to where I have some sort of bizarre sexual fetish for a woman with short dark hair. It's sad as it is, but it's funny. Oh, forgive me. Something smoking black and milds. I am about to get laid. We're about to get slayed. I am dying as I got the munchies. No big reason to bang these demons. For where I feel. Going off. Wayans Brothers done an even better film than K-pop could ever be. I just thought to catch it because it's the last film of the night, and I don't want to be in a stuffy hostel at this moment, because even if it's cooled down enough this hour, I feel hot. Better keep it down. People are obsessed with this damn movie. But thank you all for watching this broadcast, and maybe I might do a little bit more as a bonus, but if I don't, then you understand. Thank you all for watching, and good night for the 3 days I was at Annecy. Gorillas does exist after all. Because it's the music that we choose.